Hey, you guys, this is Save Time with Tori. I'm back in the parking lot again. I actually dropped the video less than 20 minutes ago, but I'm probably not going to upload this video till tomorrow. So watch out for that. Same shirt, same setup, same everything. But I'm going to make this video a little quick because my phone is about to die and I don't really have time for anything else. But anyway, this video has been going to. Excuse me. Let's try this again. This video is gonna be called "When Your Man Don't Want to Come Home," or if he's hanging out with the boys too much, or something along those lines. Basically, when your man starts to spend less time with you at your house or wherever the fuck y'all be going, when he's somewhere else versus when he's with you. Basically, when your man don't want to come home. The first reason may be you nag too much. Like, you're complaining about this, you're arguing about that, you're confrontational, it's just a lot of, bickering and just like pleasant environment. I mean, you might have the right to, whatever it is, it might be true. You might be tired of him throwing his drawers and stuff on the floor, or you might be tired of whatever the fuck you're tired of. It may be a valid reason. But the point is that, whenever you two are together, it's just a whole lot of, unhappy moments. And so I guess he feels the need to not be there. So I'm guessing if he's not there, then he don't have to hear it and that won't affect his mood or whatever. So just be careful about, nagging too much. The good should outweigh the bad at all times. Like, you're going to argue at some point, but you shouldn't be like, it shouldn't be an everyday thing. You should only be having like arguments maybe like once or twice a month. And if you're doing it more than that, and I'm not talking about big arguments either. I'm talking about like small shit. But if you're arguing about cheating and fuck shit like that, then at that point you might want to reconsider some stuff. But like just minor to moderate shit, once or twice a month, that's healthy. But don't go overboard with that. He might feel like you're ungrateful. Maybe you're like taking more than you're giving. I'm not sure what you're doing. I'm not going to sit here and put the blame on nobody, but just be mindful of, showing gratitude and being thankful for, the bills that he pays and the things that he does for you and whatnot and whatnot. But if you're not cooking, that could also be a reason. Like, well, first of all, make sure y'all locked in. Like, we ain't cooking for like regular schmegular, men and women. Like, this motherfucker gonna have to put in some work before you start doing any of this. So let me just throw that out there. I just had to put a side note for those who got it twisted. We ain't cooking for no 6-month boyfriends. We ain't doing that. But anyway, if you don't stop cooking or never started, you know what I'm saying? Like, he gotta go out and eat, and sometimes men want a home cooked meal. That's why a lot of times they go back to their mama house and on Sundays and get food, because obviously he can't get it at the house type stuff. But I mean, that's okay. Like I said, if the relationship is fresh and new and ain't nobody locked in, then you ain't gotta do none of that. But just make sure you feeding your man and things. Like, it don't have to be no 5-star meal. You don't have to go on Facebook and look for these grandioso recipes to try to flex and all that. You can fix some regular ass stuff that only takes about half an hour to an hour to fix. But like I said, if you're not really cooking and shit, and then he's gonna go out to the bar and get some chicken wings, he might pick up a bitch while he out there. No, the camera didn't freeze. He might pick up a bitch while he out there. But anyway, he could also be spending time, outside the home if you let yourself go. Like, in the beginning, you wearing your tight dresses and you're, fixed up real nice, your makeup on, 10 and things like that when you first met him. And then once you think, no, the camera didn't freeze. Once you think you got him locked in, a man is never really locked in. I'm going to just tell you that now. Unless you're the dream girl. Unless you are the dream girl, ain't shit locked in. If he settled for you or you're just one notch below that, he's still looking, and I'm sorry. Like, I didn't make the rules. I don't agree with it, but that's life. He's always looking for an upgrade. So unless you are the grade, then you know what I'm saying, keep your head on the swivel. But anyway, if you let yourself go, you're not wearing your sexy lingerie, you ain't, your skin went to shit, or you ain't busting it open like as frequently as you was before, whatever. Hey, you guys, I'm sorry, my phone went dead, and actually, this is about 30, 40 minutes later. I had to use my mini charger and charge this up really fast. Actually, it's really still only like 25%, so it's not even on 100. It's enough for me to get through the video, and that's all that matters. But anyway, I done kind of forgot where I left off. Like I said, this was like 30 plus minutes ago, so yeah, I done changed parking spots and everything else. But anyway, I think I was saying something along the lines of letting yourself go. So basically, what I'm saying, if you ain't, slaying like you used to, now you walking around with bonnets and pajama pants, and your hair is all over your head, and like you just then kind of got comfortable. Basically, I mean, most people kind of get comfortable, after a certain period, but you should never get too comfortable to the point to where you're giving basic, because basic is everywhere. Any, meeny, miny, mo. But like, where are the extraordinary? Where are the exception to the rule? Where are the oh my gosh, she's amazingly beautiful? Like, where are those at? Those are the types that get the man's attention, like right off the bat. So if he met you and you were, giving, the shit, then you shouldn't turn into the shit after you think you got them locked in. Because like I just said, I'm pretty sure I said it before the camera cut off, that what I'm saying, if you're not the one, they're still searching. And I mean, maybe not physically, but mentally, they are, before they walk across the, what you call it, the altar, and say I do, they're still like looking and waiting for an extra opportunity to upgrade, basically. So if he meets somebody, 3 months before the wedding, you might start to see him act a little strange, like he might start getting cold feet because he done saw something else that can top you. I mean, I'm pretty sure he still loves you and everything like that, but like, I don't think he's gonna go through with it if he done met somebody that he feels it might not be, but in his head he might think she might be a little bit better match than you two, and so now he's acting strange and things like that. But anyway, and then I mean, he could also not come home because he just found somebody else. I mean, kind of like what I just said. Like, if he runs into somebody else that's a better fit, or could possibly be a better fit, or has his attention in some type of way, like I said, maybe she's still keeping herself up, because for some reason, like, most single people actually look better than the people in relationships, because like I just said, they get comfortable. So when you're single, you're actually, well, you don't always have to be searching, but you actually have time and you take better care of yourself, because you're obviously looking for, well, you don't have to be looking, I'm trying to find a way to put it. No, when you're single, you just look better, you dress better, you put more effort into your appearance. That's where I'm going with that, because people are looking, and you could possibly run into a person that you might want to date and things like that. So so if you let yourself go, there could possibly be a reason why he ain't coming home, because there's nothing to look at. You got on goddamn sweatpants and you know pizza stains all over the side of your face type stuff. Meanwhile, at the bar, these girls out here, in short mini skirts and high heels, and obviously men are visual creatures, so whatever, whatever. But anyway, I mean, he could be going through something. It ain't always cheating, while the man hanging out with his boys a lot and things like that. Sometimes they may be going through something. Maybe there was like a recent death in the family, or maybe somebody's sick or getting ready to die, things like that. Or maybe he's having financial issues and, trying to keep up with the bills. Maybe his job is stressing him out, things like that. So, keep that into consideration as well, so maybe he just got a lot on his mind, and, he doesn't really want to bring that energy home and things like that. Maybe he'd rather talk it out with his friends and family, take that into consideration too. But it could also mean that, he could be slowly checking out. Like, it might not even be no other, male or female, like, when a person starts pulling away, there's typically a sign that they're disinterested for whatever reason it may be. Maybe he or she saw something that, they didn't like, and now they kind of like trying to mentally sort through their feelings, and maybe they're trying to figure out whether or not they want to stay or leave, and so now they're kind of detaching a little bit and pulling back. So, that's typically a bad sign. Like when they're doing, they're jumping through hoops, and then one day they just kind of maybe half jump, or, one foot in, you put your left foot out and you shake it all about. Like once you start feeling that energy shift, that's a sign for you to, that's a red flag for anybody pretty much. So at that point you might need to reassess the situation and try to figure out, what the hell is going on and what you can do to fix it, if it can be fixed. You know what I'm saying? So, but when the energy is off, they stop opening doors, they start bringing home your favorite snacks, they start giving you less kisses, and you'll know, everybody know when shit ain't adding up. A woman's intuition is something serious. Now I don't really know how men, sort out whether or not that girl doing the most or not. I don't know. I'm not a man. So, but energy never lies. So like women's intuition or not, like just pick up on the change in behavior, and that right there should be enough for anybody to, smell through the smoke, shit like that. But motherfuckers ain't answering their phone when they out. That's another thing. Like they spending too much time, outside the home and not with you, and for some reason like they can't pick up the phone, or they texting back hours and hours late, and it's just that's not a good sign either. Like you don't want to let me know where you at, or how long you gonna be gone, or who you with, and like if everything starts to become like a secret, that's not really a good sign, to be honest. That's a sign that they're doing something that they really don't want you to know about. And so at that point, I mean, if you're married, I would do an investigation. But if you're not, and you ain't got no ring, you just a basic girlfriend or whatever, then I mean, what they say, don't go looking for something that you don't want to know, or something like that. I don't know. Basically, don't be surprised if you roll up on something that's gonna hurt your feelings. So like, and if that's not your husband, then you really can't, what I'm saying, do too much about that but leave. So like, if you're not prepared to leave, then like don't go looking for something that could possibly, cause problem. But if he come home smelling like fresh motherfucking Irish Spring, then the motherfucker cheating. Then I'm just sorry. Like I'm just gonna put it out there. Like soap, Dial, Dove, whatever people are using nowadays. They come home smelling like they just fresh out the shower. That means they're fresh out the shower, which means them motherfuckers just got through doing something they ain't got no business. Now your camera didn't freeze. They out there doing something they ain't got no business, and then they try to hurry up and wash themselves up. They trying to wash the goddamn badussy off of them real fast, so you won't know. But first of all, how you leave home? You just took a bath. You come home still smelling like soap, fresh soap at that. Boy, bye. Anyway, the motherfucker cheating. So I mean, you can take that how you want to take that, but if they ain't smelling like a little bit of must and sweat and balls or whatever, like if there's no like all day scent on them, natural body scent, then some ain't adding up. They try to spray some perfume or cologne. I don't know what people doing nowadays to try to hide the smell, but like if it's too fresh, the motherfucker just got fresh. But anyway, these are just a couple of signs, like when your man don't come home on time, or it just started moving weird, and you're not spending that much time together anymore. These are a couple of reasons why that may be happening. But to be honest with you, the main reason is they're probably disinterested and then found somebody else, and they're ready to leave most of the time. But like I said, there are some other stuff. Like I said, they might be going through some woo woo woo, but a lot of times, when they're going through something, they can talk about it with you if they're, if it's really that serious. So if they don't feel comfortable talking to you, you know, whatever, then that means like maybe you guys aren't as tight as you think you are. Or it could be another bitch. Like I said, it's probably another bitch or a man or whoever's watching this video. But the point is, when people start moving funny, it'd be in your best interest to figure out why before you waste your time and end up like finding some stuff on his phone and it end up turning to a whole fiasco. But anyway, this is Save Time with Tori, and I do what? I save you time from the bullshit. Okay, bye.